Alright guys, welcome to today's video, and today I'm going to show you guys how to design your own workout program. Personally, this has helped me so much in my experience just with working out and training because it saved me a lot of time and money. By having the knowledge and just the experience to be able to tailor a program specifically to yourself, it's going to save you a whole lot of time and money because there's so many people out there that will sell you this program, and not to say that the programs aren't good or anything, but it's completely pointless if you're able to do it yourself. Obviously, I'm not going to knock personal training and coaching because there is a certain point when it's nice to have a coach or someone giving you frequently updated routines and plans on a weekly, if not daily basis, where there's a time and a place for everything. But just for typical person who is looking to get a just basic routine, you don't need to spend all that money. So we're going to get started today. And today, I'm going to show you guys how to design your own 8-week full training split. So I'll go over that in detail in just a little second here. Alright guys, so for our training split that we're going to be going over today, we're going to be going over, I'll put up just like a rough example of a person, but for those of you who don't know, training splits, or a good training split, should be broken down into several blocks or mesocycles, and usually they can last up anywhere from 6 to 9 months, even a year or two at a time. But just the most typical would be 8-week training blocks broken up into maybe 3 or 4 mesocycles. So today we're just going to focus on one training block, and then we're going to put an emphasis on one legging muscle group. And this training block is going to be roughly 8 weeks at a time. So the routine that we have put down today, or that we go over and how to make for 8 weeks, you're going to follow that same routine for that 8-week time period. And then after that 8 weeks is up, that's when you'd start your new training block or mesocycle, and that's when you can change up your routine. It's very important that whatever routine you are on, doesn't matter what kind of routine it is, but you stay consistent with it. You don't want to be changing it up every other day, every other week. You need to stay on it for several weeks at a time, and 8 weeks is just a pretty good happy medium for the amount of time and consistency before you make any big changes. So today we're going to go over a training split for just some random client. Let's just call this client, I don't know, let's call him Bob, just because. And Bob is looking to train for anywhere from 6 days a week. So we're going to run a 6-day training split for Bob. And Bob also has a legging muscle group, and that legging muscle group is his shoulders. So we're going to put an emphasis in our program on how to specifically target the shoulders a little bit more. So I'm going to go over here and show you guys how we're going to properly write this out. Also, one real quick thing to mention here before we get too deep into this video, I'm not going to be covering anything diet related. It's specifically just going to be about training and the workout plan itself. So that's just I wanted to say that real quick just to make sure none of you guys were expecting to hear anything diet related. Alright guys, so now that I've just showed you the specs or stats for our imaginary client here, Bob, you can see that he is legging in his shoulders or delts, and he wants to train 6 days per week. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to pull up just a rough template of just a completely raw training schedule, and we're going to fill that in based on what our example client is wanting. And the cool thing about this is you can do this literally on I'm using Google Drive to do this. You can do it on Microsoft Word, any kind of platform you want. You could even write it down in a notebook if you want to, if you're like the kind of handwritten person that likes to carry their schedule with them into the gym. But personally, I just use Google Drive. Very simple. It's accessible from anywhere. I can get it on my phone. I can share it with anyone. So that's just what I prefer. So I'm going to pull this up right now, and we're going to go through how we can fill this specific routine in for a client here. Alright guys, so here we have our rough template that we're going to use for our training split. And as you can see right now, I'm just going through each individual day of the week, and I'm just laying out what training day I'm going to be hitting that day. So what we're running here is just a standard push-pull leg split. So we're going to be hitting each muscle group roughly twice per week, except for our shoulders and our abs. Because being that our shoulders are something we want to bring up in this routine, we're going to be wanting to hit them a little bit more frequently. And with our abs, they are just, you use your abs in lots of things that you do, or your core in lots of things that you do, so they're able to take a higher frequency load. So as we're starting out right here, we're going to do Monday first, which is going to be our push day, our first push day of the week. And being that we're training each muscle group twice per week, we're going to vary up each time that we train that. So each time that we're going to train them is going to be slightly different. So Monday is our push day number 1. And this day is going to be more of a chest emphasis push day. So we're going to be starting out our workout with our first compound of the day, which is going to be our just standard barbell bench press. And like I will show you here, I don't want to get into too much detail about it, but basically no matter what workout you're doing, every day you want to start out your workout with roughly 1 to 2 compound movements, because that's really going to set the tone for the workout and really get your body acclimated to what you want to do. Personally, I like to save isolation work until after the compound movements are done, just because the compound movements are what's going to build your base and are going to be the most important for you. Not that isolations are not important, but they should always be, or your compound movements are always superior to your isolation work. So like I'm writing down here, I'm not going to go through the sets, reps, and the RPE and rest for every single lift I would do because I just take forever, but I'm just going to show you right here. So for our compound movements, I'm almost going to always do reverse pyramid for them. So you're going to be starting out with your heaviest set, and you're going to be working your way down in weight after that set, but therefore increasing the amount of repetitions you do. So start out with more strength-based, and then you're going to be working your way into more hypertrophy-focused sets. For your reverse pyramid sets, I like to keep the weight obviously as heavy as you can possibly go, and then reducing the weight by roughly 20% each time. So for example, if I were to be benching 185 pounds for my heaviest set, I would then move down to about 165 pounds roughly for my next set. And we're going to be resting about 3 minutes between our compounds because they take a lot of energy out of us, and we want to make sure that we're properly recovered for each set for our compound movements. And the main focus, like always, should just be proper form and controlling the weight. So after our first compound, we're going to get into our second compound, which is really going to hit our frontal delts and our shoulders nicely, which is our overhead dumbbell shoulder press. And this one, you can either do reverse pyramid as well, but I find that if I go a little bit higher volume with my shoulders, like 4 sets of 8 to 12 here, my shoulders respond just slightly better. So it's all up to you how you want to tailor your reps and sets. But typically with shoulders, I find that if you go higher volume, they respond better. After that, we're going to move on to an incline cable fly, very high volume. If I want to do flies, these can also go very high volume as well. And then a side dumbbell lateral. With the side dumbbell laterals, it's going to be crucial that your form is on point, and make sure you're really driving through with your delts and not using your elbows to kind of collapse and then have your hands be the highest point. You always want your elbows to be this highest point in the movement, and that's really going to target those lateral deltoids. From there, we're going to move on to a little bit of tricep work, and we have just our overhead dumbbell French press to hit more of the inner head of the long head of the tricep, and then we're going to move on to just a standard rope tricep extension. And then we're going to finish off with just a standard chest finisher. I like to just do push-ups for on this first push day of the week. Just 2 sets of as many reps as you possibly can. That'll really just make sure your chest is really cooked for the day. And you might be wondering, or you might be thinking that why is this workout not as high volume as you'd expect, or you'd think it would be a lot more? If we're going 6 days per week, it's not about going to the gym for 2 to 3 hours at a time and having an amazing workout. We want to be smart about this. So still give 100% effort, but if you can be smart about it and divide your workload properly and evenly throughout 6 days during the week, you're going to feel a lot more fresh, be able to have a lot more consistent PRs, and just be a lot more consistent with everything in total. So that's our push day number 1. Now we're going to be moving on to our first pull day, and pull day is going to be our lats, our rear delts, and our biceps. So like always, for our first compound, it's going to be reverse pyramid, and for today's compound, we're going to be doing weighted wide grip pull-ups. I'm a huge fan of these. By far, I think it's the number 1 exercise you can do to build width to your back. But yeah, so just like any compound, emphasize your form and really just make sure you're giving it your all. From there, we're going to move on to just a middle standard grip barbell row to target more thickness into our back. When I do a back workout, I really try to split it up 50-50 between more width targeting exercises and then back thickness exercises. So lots of that is going to be your horizontal pulls for your thickness, and then your vertical pulls for your rows or for your width. And after our 2 compounds, we're getting into single arm work, because personally when I train back, I find a lot of imbalances. If I go, say, with pull-ups, like one side tends to want to pull more weight. So if I do lots of single arm work, like a single arm pull down and a single arm row, it's really going to ultimately just improve my overall strength and my compounds, as well as my physique and lat development. And then we're going to get into some rear delt work. People often neglect to train rear delts, but honestly, they're a huge part of the shoulders. And being that our client Bob here wants to build up shoulders, we're really going to be including a lot of rear delt work because they really add a whole portion to your back and they give you that 3D look to your delts. So we're going to be supersetting a cable face pull as well as a rear delt fly. Like always though, with your shoulders, higher volume and proper form is going to be crucial because your shoulders are a relatively small muscle group. So if you're not targeting them with proper form, you're just going to completely miss them. So now we're going to get onto our first leg day. And this leg day is going to be just kind of a standard leg day, what I would consider that. And like always on leg days, I always start out with some form of a squat or just a pressing movement just because it's so crucial and this compound literally utilizes so much of your lower body. And like always, 4 sets reverse pyramid. We're going to move on to some hamstrings and we're going to do a dumbbell RDL. I like to do my first 2 compounds on leg day, always a quad emphasis and then a hamstring or glute emphasis compound. From there, we're going to get onto some single unilateral work. So not yet, excuse me. We're just going to go to a narrow stance leg press, Then from there, we're going to go to leg extensions and then superset that with any kind of calf raise of your choice. And being that we still want to bring up our shoulders, we're also going to be including a little bit of delt work onto our shoulder days. So we're going to do a few sets of lateral raises and also rear delt fly. And that's the cool thing with tailoring your own program. If you have a lagging muscle group or something you want to really focus in, you don't have to follow any other routine. You can work with it and tailor your routine so you can include it to give yourself higher frequency throughout the week to train that. So we're also going to include that. And then we're going to end our workout off with some ab work as well. And I'm putting into this routine abs, training them roughly 3 times per week just because they can take the workload and they're still important to train even though you won't necessarily see them unless your body fat is low enough. They're still just like any other muscle group and we need to bring them up. So now we're on to our second push day of the week. And this week, being that our workouts will vary every time we change them, so this is our day 2 push day. So we're going to be emphasizing a lot more of the delts in this workout. So we're going to start off with a standing overhead barbell press and not bench press because like I just said, we want to emphasize more of our delts into this push day. If we go heavy on our chest again, we're just going to fatigue ourselves too fast. So it's really important that you vary everything out and have a lot of thought and structure behind it. That way you can keep yourself as fresh as possible. Then we're going to get into an incline dumbbell press because that's going to hit a lot of the upper chest as well as the frontal delts. And then a single arm lateral raise with the cables. If we go single arm again, obviously it's going to fix those imbalances and really overall just improve our strength and physique. Then we're going to do some incline, just dumbbell flies, hit a lot of the upper chest again as well as the frontal delts. And then we're going to get into our tricep work and just do a single arm dumbbell overhead extension and then also a single arm just tricep kickback with a dumbbell. And then let's see, what do we have here? Oh yeah, we're going to do just a chest or lateral raise finisher to really just make sure our delts are properly cooked throughout the day. And we're going to do for here, being that it's a finisher, we can go really high volume and really kill ourselves here. So we're just going to go 3 sets of standard, anywhere from 10 to 12 reps. You can even go like 12 to 20 reps, just depending on how you feel and how heavy a weight you go. And then after those 3 sets, we're going to do 1 drop set, and that's just till failure, until your form just completely gives out. I recommend only going until form gives out, not until your body completely gives out, because once form gives out, that's when you're at a really high risk for injury. So you really want to be paying attention to your form as priority number 1. So now we're going to be going into our pull day, number 2 for the week. And just like our push day, we're going to change this up slightly from our first pull day because we don't want to over fatigue ourselves. So instead of a wide grip weighted pull up, we're just going to start out with a row this time, a barbell row. And then our second exercise, we're going to go to our vertical pull, and we're just going to do a wide grip lat pull down. Another good compound exercise, but still I would do weighted pull-ups over that. But being that it's not our first exercise, we're already going to be kind of tired, so we want to just do a lat pull down instead. And then we're going to do our single arm cable row. The first pull day, we did a single arm dumbbell row. Now we're going to do a cable row. It's just a slight change, but I find that by having slight changes like that here and there, it really just works for your overall improvement. Then we're going to go to a single arm cable pull down. Nothing new there. And then also back to our cable face pulls and rear delt flies, really hitting those rear delts or the posterior delts, just because they really add that last finishing touch to your shoulders and give you that free 3D delt look. You can't undertrain those enough. They're super important. And then we're just going to get into some quick bicep work. just some single arm dumbbell curls and single arm cable hammer curls. And now we're going to get into our second leg day of the week. So like always, I highly recommend starting out with some form of a squat. And being that we just did a standard barbell squat last week, we could do that again this week. And if we were focusing on bringing up our legs, I would honestly include that again. But being that our main focus right now is our shoulders, it's not a huge deal. So what we're going to do instead, we're going to change it up and do a narrow stance, heels elevated, front squat. Still going to be working lots of the same muscle groups, just going to put more emphasis on your quads and just keep you a little bit more fresh. Right here, you can go 4 sets of reverse pyramid, or if you just want to do standard reps of anywhere from like 8 to 12 reps, that's cool too. Just really whatever you prefer. And then from there, we're going to go to a barbell RDL, same as last week, except we're using just a barbell instead of dumbbells. Then we're going to go to our single unilateral works and single leg press. Personally, I do these a lot myself because I find that my one side is stronger than the other. So when I do things like my squats or leg presses, one side always wants to take more of the workload. So by doing a single leg, it can really even the strength imbalance out. And then we're going to go to a single leg extension, and then as well as a single leg hamstring curl. Really just focusing on that unilateral, making sure everything is getting evened out and we're preventing any strength imbalances. And then also, we're going to do shoulders again. Like I just said, we're really going to be hammering the crap out of our shoulders in this routine. Being that they're a lagging muscle group, we can afford to train them more. And it's really cool because we can just properly tailor a routine so we're getting enough frequency for them. You can do this with any muscle group. If you have a lagging chest, you're going to put more chest frequency in your routine. If you have a lagging width in your back, you can do that with back also. And then Sunday, being that we're only 6 days a week, we'll just call Sunday our off day. And honestly, if you do want to do something on your off day, I recommend just doing some low intensity cardio. You can still burn some calories and get active, but you don't have to tax and blow the crap out of your nervous system like you would if you were to be lifting weights. But yeah, so that's really honestly all we got for this commentary.
That's how you design your own workout split. Now keep in mind, that was just a 6-day training split, and that was only for anywhere from 8 weeks at a time. So what you saw there, literally follow that for 8 weeks, or that's what we'd give our imaginary client, Bob, to follow for 8 weeks. And after those 8 weeks are up, and he then has the choice to decide if he wants to continue on something like that, or if he's seen enough progress and he wants to change it up and specialize in a different focus area. And then also, that's just, like I said, it's just a 6-day split. There's also many other kinds of splits. If you don't have to train 6 days per week to see results, you can do anywhere from a 3-day training split, which is full body every single time you train, or a 4-day upper lower training split, or a 5-day, even like a upper lower than the rest of the 3 days, or just a push pull legs. Or I've even seen people, only when you get like very advanced, I mean, I wouldn't recommend this for your beginner by any means, but they can do like a full body split for even up to like 5 days a week, or an upper lower split for 6 days per week. So there's so many different options. But the most important thing you can do is that whatever split you do decide to go against or go with, is that you have the knowledge and understand how to properly lay out your workload throughout the duration of the week. So if you're only training 3 days a week, maybe you want to make your workouts a little bit higher volume, a little bit longer, being that you get more time to recover throughout the week. But for example, like we did here with 6 days per week, we really don't want to be in the gym anymore from like an hour to 10 minutes. Any more than that, if you go in there for like an hour and a half, 2 hours, even 3 hours, you won't even be able to get through the week. You're just going to kill yourself. So it's really just about being able to delegate things properly and not overdoing it. Like I even showed you with the 2 different workouts, we're hitting every muscle group twice per week in a 6-day split. But because we're hitting it twice per week, we're not doing the exact same thing both days. We're changing it up here and there, making slight tweaks so we don't over fatigue ourselves or injure ourselves that second day of the week, so we can maintain a fresh nervous system and we're ready to kill it every single time we walk into that gym. But yeah, so I'm gonna end the video right here. Like always, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and just let me know anytime you need something. I'll be happy to help you guys out. So see you guys later. Peace.